Why are they juggalo alpacas? Hello and welcome to the Labor John podcast, where we poscattingly about the history class working of Philadelphia and the surrounding world. My name is Young Sam James. I am one of the co-hosts of this program, and unfortunately, the other co-host who has to put up with me is
I'm Gabe Christie, and now I want some spaghetti.
What? Wait, what? What?
Your intro sounded like you said spaghetti.
Well, I'm gonna have to listen to that back because Gabe, as you know, well, actually,
I'm also very tired, so...
Gabe, I took an Ancestry.com blood test thing, or like a nasal swab thing, and
Mhm.
they said they keep updating their shit. And right now, I'm like 2%. It's Northeastern Italian, which I never thought I would be. So I just want to say to all my fellow Italians, Mazel Tov. And let's get into the program. Hello and welcome to the Labor John podcast. Today we're going to learn about the very special, awesome, incredible, nostalgic. Stop showing those goddamn juggalo alpacas, Gabe. We're going to show something amazing. We're going to talk about something amazing. What are we talking about, Gabe?
The 1936 Berkshire Knitting Mills strike.
That's the best thing we could have come up with.
It's true.
That's the best thing we can. That's a question, Gabe. That's the best thing we could have come up with.
Yes.
Okay.
That was not framed as a question. That was very much framed as a statement initially, but good retcon there.
All right. Well, the 1936. Am I right there?
Yes.
36 Berkshire. Am I still
Yeah.
correct?
Yep.
Knitting strike.
Yes. Knitting Mills.
Knitting Mills.
You can... I don't know how well you can see.
Give me some
the
goddamn
slide.
credit, man. That's a lot of words for me to remember in a span of 5 seconds.
That's fair.
All right,
I suppose I've been saying Berkshire Knitting Mills to myself like multiple times a day for a month and a half. So,
all right, well, let's get right into this because everybody's so interested. All the listeners are really interested about hearing about this. So let's get right into it, Gabe. Go ahead. What's the backstory?
I certainly hope so. So first, we need to talk about 3 German guys. Their names are Henry Janssen, Ferdinand Thun, and Gustav Oberlander.
Good start.
Yes. So these are 3 German immigrants and industrialists who, as you'll see, were the founders of the Berkshire Knitting Mills.
Okay.
We'll start with Ferdinand Thun, who's in the lower left in the slide.
For those of you playing the home game, he is a gentleman he looks German. I'll just say that. They all look German. We'll give it, I don't mean to like say, I don't mean like to say something like that, but he looks German. He looks German. As a German, I can say that, Gabe.
Considering the phrenology the Germans did on my people, I can say that my phrenological assessment is that they are in fact all Germanic.
Oh God, it's a great start. Okay, Ferdinand Thun. Here we go.
So Ferdinand Thun was born in Barmen, Germany, in February of 1866. He moved to the United States in 1886 and worked in a woolen mills up in Stony Creek Mills, PA.
No, you had it right the first time. It was Crick.
I mean, actually, that's a fair point. Yeah, Stony Creek Mills, PA. So that's where he became acquainted with industrial textile production and specifically industrial wool braiding, which is...
Berating? Like he berated the wool?
No, braiding is it B-R-A-I-D.
How dare you? You'll never become anything more than wool. Polyester, that's out of your game plan, sir. You will always be wool.
That was slightly anachronistic, Sam. Polyester wouldn't become a product until I think 1937 or 38, invented by the DuPont Corporation down in Delaware.
Actually, I was offended at first, but the fact that your historical knowledge of that situation, Gabe, is like staggering. God bless you, Gabe. Thank you.
It's because I hate polyester. So, braiding, as in B-R-A-I-D. So this was the process of using a big industrial machine to effectively make a braid out of a bunch of different pieces of string,
Okay.
which it's easy to braid something by hand. Well, not easy, but it's not super complicated to braid something by hand. It gets really complicated when you have to build a machine that does that without getting twisted
Sure.
or without getting tangled.
Sure. Unskilled labor is what you're saying.
Yes. So he got
Mhm.
really into industrial braiding.
Okay.
Then we're going to move to Heinrich or Henry Janssen, who's the tall man in the middle here.
Handsome fella.
So he was also born in Barmen, Germany, in 1866, then moved to the United States in 1888 and worked with the Castle Braid Company of New York.
Okay.
So both of these men were born in the same town in Germany in the same year, both moved to the US, and both got into the same industry of woolens braiding.
Are we gonna find out they're brothers or something, or secret lovers?
Honestly, that's what I thought when I was first reading this history. I was like, oh, clearly this is going to be like a weird separated at birth story. But
Jerry. For the
uh,
for the 8 people who knows what Jerry Springer is, who still listens to us.
yeah, I don't think that's our target demographic.
Do we have a target demographic?
Uh,
Honestly, we're
that's a
just we're
good
just
question.
shitting in the breeze, Gabe.
Yeah. Ferdinand Tund and Henry Janssen
Okay.
met through a mutual friend in New York City in 1889. Both of them also happened to know Gustav Oberlander, who is the final man in our little triumvirate here in the lower right. And all three of them quickly became friends. Uh,
Aw.
Ferdinand Thun and Henry Janssen discovered that they were born in the same town within weeks of one another, and then both emigrated to the United States. And so I think there was something in the water in Barmen, Germany, that like you were predestined to get into the woolens industry. So that's my theory. Uh, just
It's
like
what is it? It's woven in the wool. It's
something like that.
colored, something like that, Gabe. That's fine. And then
Dyed in the
Gustav
wool.
died in the wool, and then
Yeah.
Gustav Oberlander
Who just
joins the
happened to know
fray.
both of them.
Yes.
Every couple
Handsome
needs a third
fellows.
wheel. So
Yes. Jerry.
so all three of them decided to go into business together to manufacture and sell braiding machinery.
All right.
So they're no longer producing woolen braids; they're now producing the machinery to make woolen braid.
Okay.
They first rented a warehouse at 222 Cedar Street in Reading, Pennsylvania, and actually initially didn't have a huge amount of success. They had a
Oh.
lot of problems because, somewhat ironically, the uh, woolen braidings industry was dominated by machinery being imported from Germany. So all of the people in Barmen, Germany that didn't emigrate to the United States but were still obsessed with woolen braiding were out producing them and making better products than they could in the States.
Hmm.
So basically, they couldn't break into that industry, or they had a lot of difficulty initially. Um, until 1895, when they got their first large order for braiding machines, and then eventually had to actually ramp up production and expand into a larger space. At which point they established the Textile Machine Works in January 1900, where they
Okay.
purchased a plot of land in Wyomissing, which is basically
Ooh.
right next to Reading.
Yeah.
Uh, and this was also right off of the railroad. So you had ready access to the rail, both for bringing in raw materials and then shipping out the finished product.
Good
'Cause-
plan. I like
yeah,
it.
which is also very useful because industrial textile machinery is super freaking heavy.
Yeah.
Uh, so having a railroad right there is really nice. Uh, oh yeah, so they also bought that land for $1,
a, do- a literal dollar?
a single dollar.
Jesus
Um,
Christ.
there, there was a push within Reading at the time to like bring it or to diversify the industry. And so basically, like you could show up, you could go to the Reading City Council and be like, "Yeah, I'm going to set up a factory. Give me all of this land for $1." And that's how they
Nice.
got set up. Yep.
I love it. That's the way how things should work, Gabe.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're good. Moving on.
Uh, so once they had that first factory set up,
Yeah.
they started to diversify their own portfolio and eventually set up the Narrow Fabric Company,
Okay.
which added uh, a small amount of fabric production to their now like industrial combine that they're slowly building in Reading. And they renamed everything to Wyomissing Industries, which was the
All right.
umbrella organization over all of these. And now we're finally going to get to the actual Berkshire Knitting Mills.
Here we go.
So in 1906, they founded Berkshire Knitting Mills, which they initially intended to be a like testing and experimental firm. The
What?
it's kind of wild. So the idea was they would use it as a way to test equipment and or new equipment and new methods for uh like knitwear production and
Interesting.
hosiery production. And so they had, from the get go, they had this really big focus on making sure that everything was running as efficiently as humanly possible.
Very interesting. A
Hmm.
hosiery proving grounds. Okay.
Yes, like it. These are things you don't think about that, but like they,
As the normal person shouldn't,
yeah, but
honestly, but
they built like this whole effectively industrial laboratory for knitting production, which is kind of cool.
yeah, it is
Um,
kind of cool.
And because they had all of the experience with developing all of the braiding machinery, they actually designed some of their own knitting machines that then
Interesting.
got tested in the Berkshire Mills, which then were used as ones that worked went into production.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of a cool piece of industrial
I
heritage.
It is. I'll take it. We'll take it as Pennsylvanians, I guess.
Yeah, and so they eventually developed their own system that was like unique to Berkshire Knitting Mills for making full fashioned hosiery. And so that's like full length stockings and
Mm.
out of silk. Um,
Bathe me
so
in
the
silk, Gabe.
mm, uh, so they this also
That wait, no, Gabe. That was the end of the podcast. We're done. You didn't know that,
um,
but that was the end.
that's fair. I think we've had a good run. That's a good way to end it. Um,
I like the fact that the people can't see it unless you're watching the YouTube video, but the slideshow shows like $1.25 per pair, I guess, of stockings,
mhm.
which is more expensive than the whole fucking plot of land that they bought.
You know, I didn't put that together until right now, but you're absolutely right.
I could sell my pair of stockings that I have on right now used for a plot of land for an entire hosiery factory, Gabe. What am I
Yep,
doing? Podcasting.
that's insane.
Dead air. I've been waiting
Jesus
to use
Christ.
that one.
Okay. So the we'll get into the method that they
It's
developed in a
fine.
little bit,
It's fine,
but
Gabe. It's fine.
uh, most importantly, so they developed all of this in the early 1900s,
Hmm.
which set them up to be very, very well positioned for the changes in women's fashion in the 19 teens and 20s.
Mm.
Because women's dresses started, or the skirts of women's dresses and their skirts started to get shorter and shorter, which made hosiery a more of a fashion statement. Um,
Sure.
which then led to women buying slightly fancier stockings, which generally meant silk.
Yeah.
And so basically, once World War One concluded, Berkshire was in like this perfect position to corner the market because they had one of the most efficient setups, and demand was about to skyrocket. And so by the I believe by the mid 20s, Berkshire was one of the largest full fashion hosiery plants on Earth.
Whoa.
And yeah, and they were outproducing basically everyone else. And
That's pretty
just,
cool.
yeah. Uh, and it was like a point of civic pride in Reading. Obviously, the mills employed a huge number of people. Um, and then you could also buy Berkshire stockings just about anywhere. And it's also because the knitting mills were still positioned right on the railroad, they had a really convenient setup for
Good
distribution.
spot. Good
Yep.
spot. They got it going.
But
Uh,
obviously, people worked in these factories.
oh, we gotta talk about these mothers.
Yeah.
God damn it.
The American Federation of, well, this is the American Federation of Hosiery Workers, started as the American Federation of Full Fashioned Hosiery Workers.
Better name. Better name.
Yeah,
Make it
you
longer.
need all union names need to be longer.
They need 27 syllables.
It's the Amalgamated Association of Federal something 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 of one state.
Local
Yes.
112.
Uh, and like, I don't know why, but when your local hits 5 digits, it just messes me up. It looks wrong.
Yeah,
I can,
especially when you're the first,
yeah,
right?
I can deal with a 4 digit local. A 5 digit local is just weird. I don't know
It's
if
like,
that makes me a
yeah,
bigot or something, but
no, Gabe, you're perfectly fine with that. You can
um,
berate them with that one.
ooh, good callback. Uh,
Thanks, Gabe. Appreciate that.
uh, so the American Federation of Hosiery Workers
Yeah.
first seems to have shown up in Reading in the mid 20s or in the late
Okay.
20s. I haven't quite found the exact time that they showed up, but by the late 20s, they had a presence there. Um, and that was also in part uh, somewhat encouraged by Mayor Stump, whom we've talked about in a previous
Ooh.
episode.
Oh, Stumpy.
Yeah. Because the hosiery workers were a socialist union.
Oh,
So,
Gabe. Stop.
Jesus Christ. I figured an episode about silk stockings would be difficult for you, so
Silk stockings and socialism
stockings,
will do that to a man, Gabe.
it's a good book.
It is a very
Um,
good book. Everyone go and read that book.
in 1928, Stump gave a speech to the Reading branch of the American Federation of Hosiery Workers,
Okay.
which was then broadcast on AFHW's radio station from Philly, WRAW.
1060. I don't know.
The it's W Raw, like the it sounds like it should be a wrestling radio station. So it's W Raw.
W roll. I don't know, Gabe. You go
But
keep going.
anyway, so by 1930,
Yeah.
AFHW started to look into Berks County more
Uh-oh.
broadly because they were making good inroads with all of the hosiery manufacturers in Philly. They hadn't, at this point, fully secured shop control across the city like they would by the end of the 30s, but they knew that their plans for organizing the hosiery mills in the city of Philadelphia needed to be supported by all of the surrounding counties being organized as well, because
Sure.
otherwise, like, Berkshire could just scab on any of the mills in Philly if they went on strike,
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Vice
because
versa.
Berkshire, yeah, but also because Berkshire was such a large part of the uh, market as a whole, it's also possible that they would just take over and the mill in Philly would shut down.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
Cool.
so uh, yeah, so they needed to expand, and they knew that if they could get the Berkshire Knitting Mills organized, that then they could have basically a pressure, or they could apply pressure to the industry as a whole, because Berkshire was like the big dog.
Yeah.
Um, and so they were actually initially trying to get support from some of the smaller mills in the area to like support them as they tried to organize Berkshire, because they correctly argued that like if these smaller mills who already have union contracts with the hosiery workers, if they want to be able to compete with Berkshire, Berkshire needs to be operating under the same rule book, which means a union
Sure.
contract.
Sure.
So it was actually a like the enemy of my enemy is my friend situation.
Yeah.
Um, Now, all of this is happening in the late 20s and into the early 30s, which means the Great Depression. Uh,
Hey, our favorite topic.
yeah,
Favorite topic.
uh, keeps having impacts. Uh, so, economy tanks, and workers got more and more desperate and started to fight for better wages on the job. Then you have the National Industrial Recovery Act of 1933. Article 7 basically gave loose permission for workers to legally unionize. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, the unions took it as permission, or recognized
As they
that it was
should.
a, yes, they recognized that it was a useful tool for to push organizing.
You got to read
Um,
between the lines, Gabe. Got to read
yeah,
between the lines.
so huge expansion of unionism. Organizers went out into all of the surrounding areas around Philly and started to push for more organizing within the hosiery field or hosiery industry. This also meant, or as part of the Industrial Recovery Act, you also had the National Recovery Administration, which theoretically set up standardized wages that were
Yeah.
supposed to like stabilize the field, but a lot of the times those wages were just set by the companies or by like a group of companies anyway.
Uh,
So they weren't necessarily set up with workers in mind. They were set up with
yeah.
let's just reduce competition between all of us.
You could have a worse NRA.
Yes, yeah, you could have a better one too, but uh, uh, so but AFHW expanded across Philadelphia, Berks, and Lancaster counties, and started going on a massive organizing drive.
Good.
But Berkshire
No.
Knitting Mills was still resistant to organization.
Aw.
Part of the NRA code for hosiery mills, and this is the good NRA, or one of the better
The good
NRA, I
NRA.
should say, uh, which again was mostly drafted by business owners, was a 40-hour work
Yeah.
week and no work on Saturdays. So the union took this very, very seriously and recognized that this was a good kind of leverage point to start organizing and bargaining from, because
Mhm.
the NRA was fairly popular, uh, especially in like a, I would say, industrial and socialist leaning town like Reading in the 30s. The NRA was uh, the kind of policy that even if people didn't think, or even if people thought that it didn't go far enough, they still liked it and recognized that like it was the government telling industry what to do on
All
paper,
right.
not necessarily in practice, but yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Gotta start somewhere.
More importantly, uh, the promise of a 40-hour work week gave them a really good bargaining position because then everyone liked that. And that let them go around and say, like, hey, if your boss isn't giving you a 40-hour work week, you need to join the union, and then we'll fight on your behalf and
I
get you a
like it.
40-hour week.
I like it.
Um,
Because they were at the time they were working a 3,727-hour work week, which was horrible.
yes. And sometimes multiple of those at a time. So
Yeah, it's a
um,
shame. And double on
the
Saturday too.
mhm. Uh, so after the Supreme Court struck down most of the National Industrial Recovery Act in May of 1935,
Cool.
the Industrial Code, as it was called, um, was basically like voluntary theoretically. It like it was very vague because it a lot of the mills still said that they would follow it, but there was no longer any legal nothing was legally binding them to do so.
Awesome.
So yeah, it was great. It was a good
Well, yeah,
system.
when it has something to do with like people's livelihoods, I'm glad that it's vague.
Yeah, so Berkshire Mills was more than happy to go back to ignoring the voluntary code and wanted to maximize production,
What?
undercut the market, and undercut its workers.
Cool.
Yeah.
The
Uh,
I'm glad we found the heroes of the story so early, Gabe.
yeah. So, in the summer of 1936, in response to Berkshire Mills reneging on the voluntary code, AFHW started a pressure campaign against them. Uh,
Okay.
Mostly, this was both to get the workers to organize and to agitate them. Uh, and then also, if it turned out that the company acquiesced and gave them their basically a standard set of demands that they used in all of their contracts, then they could also use that as leverage to go to the workers and say, "Hey, we fought and won this for you. You should come join the union and organize the mill."
Fair.
Yeah, but they also figured that Berkshire wasn't going to do that anyway. So, it,
Yeah.
more than anything, it was a good pressure point. Um, And the other hope was that this would standardize wages and hours across the industry. So you no longer had people in like one mill making 5 cents an hour more than someone in a different mill and
Mhm.
then working like 36-hour week while another mill works a 48-hour week and somebody else works a 56-hour week. Like
Sure.
it got complicated. So other companies or so the pitch that they made to all of the smaller ones, like I was saying, is that they wouldn't have to compete with Berkshire on any of the points covered by the voluntary code, which was hours, wages, weekend work, and safety conditions. That was their pitch to all of the other mills to try and get them to not. There was some fear that like other mills that were organized might start like firing organizers and agitators who had gone over to help build the union at Berkshire.
Sure.
Uh, but they managed to get some buy-in from the smaller mill owners, so that
Okay.
was good
All right.
progress.
All right.
Then in August 1936,
Yeah.
AFHW Branch 10, which covered Reading, announced that they would hold a mass picket out front of the Berkshire Knitting Mills on Saturday, August 8th, to protest them enforcing weekend work.
Cool.
In response to that, the
Jesus.
Berkshire Employees Association which was a company union controlled by the plant manager Hugo Hemmerich,
Mm.
which is somehow an even more German name than Ferdinand Thun and Heinrich Janssen. So Hugo Hemmerich announced that its workers were happy to work Saturdays and did so
Ah.
voluntarily without coercion from the company. Yeah.
Okay.
uh, yeah.
Sure. All right, Hugo.
So Hemmerich, though, announced that despite the fact that all of the workers love working on Saturdays,
Yes.
we would just be closed on Saturday, August 8th for no reason. Don't ask questions.
What?
Hmm. Uh,
But wait a minute. Everyone wants to work on Saturday. What's happening, Hugo?
well, it's because those nasty unionists are causing a
Oh,
ruckus, and we don't want
damn.
to cause any confrontation.
I, I
Uh,
understand.
yeah.
Fair
So he
play,
announced,
Hugo. Fair play.
yes. He announced that it would be closed on Saturday, August 8th, but that they reserved the right to reopen it on any other Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. But that Friday, there was a lot of confusion because not all of the workers in the plant had been told to not show up to work on Saturday, and no one was entirely sure what was going on. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, so
So, like,
this,
what the fuck?
yeah,
They don't know what they're doing.
yeah, it got really complicated. So then AFHW, while they're planning all of this and kind of watching the plant
Yeah.
just run around like a headless chicken,
Yeah, yeah.
they had multiple other strikes going on in the region, including a couple sit down strikes. Uh, and it was also being kicked out of the AFL at this point, the American Federation of Labor,
Hmm.
because it was one of the founding groups within the CIO,
Mhm.
the Congress of Industrial Organizations, or at this point it would be the August 36th. It's Congress of Industrial Organizations. Um, so 8th of August, they the union goes forward with their informational picket, and basically they just set up a picket out front of the mill, hand out leaflets,
Yeah.
um,
How
and
you
the
doing? Yeah,
union,
this is what we do.
yeah, they actually got permission to operate a mobile speaker system.
Oh.
So they had a car or a truck with a whole bank of speakers on it, um, but the volume was restricted to being audible no more than 1 block away
What?
between the hours of 7 a.m. and 8 p.m.
How many decibels is that? Oh,
I don't
kilohertz.
know.
I don't know how many.
Yeah. Uh, so John Edelman, the researcher from AFHW International, and then Henry Bauer, who was the secretary of the Reading branch, were both arrested and fined $10 for operating the sounds car uh, at 6:43 in the morning, which dis-
Okay.
which disturbed the peaceful rest of local citizens who
I
called it
mean,
annoying.
fair play. I
Yeah.
mean, that is early.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, up
admittedly
the
that's early.
union, but 6:45 in the goddamn AM. Jesus Christ, man.
No, no, no. The police ticket specifically said 6:43. That
6:43. I apologize. I apologize. It's 6:43.
so despite the two guys getting arrested
Okay.
um, for being slightly too loud, um,
I love how you can
the
just make up laws and rules, you know.
Mhm.
When it's them, they can just make up
Yeah.
rules and laws.
The pickets continued with about 1,000 folks showing up to talk to the
Damn.
public about the grievances. Yeah,
Okay.
and this wasn't just workers at Berkshire. This was also people coming in from other mills
Sure.
that already
Yeah.
had contracts. Um, the So they continued to build pressure throughout the rest of August and September, doing more leafleting, holding meetings, holding rallies, and really trying to pressure Berkshire to back down on weekend work, because
Yeah.
basically immediately after this, they went back to being operational on Saturdays.
Every Saturday.
And the union set up a special committee specifically for organizing the Berkshire Mill.
Good.
Um, so, and that was from the international level that they had a committee
Ooh.
for Berkshire. Um,
Ooh. Fancy.
and so their overall goal was to come to an agreement with Berkshire, uh, which was so large that if Berkshire Knitting Mills wanted to, they could effectively tank the entire knitting industry or the entire hosiery industry in the region uh, by just
Just
undercutting every
stonewalling.
other mill. Yeah,
Yeah.
and if they wanted to, they could probably have pulled something similar to what like Amazon's uh, technique is, where you go in and undercut all of the competition by or undersell the competition by like having your prices on everything
Yeah.
and selling at a loss, and then
Great.
once everyone else is out of business you jack your prices back up.
Awesome.
uh, yeah.
God bless America, Gabe, is what I say.
hmm it's a great system. uh, so they wanted to prevent that from happening so that the other mills could stay open and people could continue to have jobs in the midst of
Interesting.
the ongoing depression. um, and then there were also 5,800 workers in the plant itself at Berkshire that needed a union.
Screw him.
On September 26, 1936, the committee met with Hugo Hemmerich and other representatives of Berkshire to discuss the demands. Hemmerich surprisingly refused to follow any of their demands,
What?
and negotiations effectively stopped almost
God,
immediately.
God damn it.
I, I am always surprised that this just keeps coming up.
I
Uh,
know. What is going on with these bosses, man?
I don't know. They just don't like to talk it out.
They like money
Uh,
too much, Gabe.
that's true.
This made up thing
Uh,
they call money.
uh, and
I I,
also,
I I didn't mean to like drop that bomb on people, but money
it's
is
true.
completely made up.
It it doesn't exist. And what episode are we on at this point? Some like
137,000, Gabe. I have no idea.
something like that. Yeah. If they've been listening this long, and
They
still
have
think
not.
money exists, we haven't been doing our job. Uh,
Fair play.
now, so the committee then made a report to a mass meeting of workers from Berkshire
Okay.
and other AFHW members, letting them know how Hemmerich responded. The workers at that meeting immediately responded by asking that the American Federation of Hosiery Workers International endorses a strike pledge. So
Okay.
basically, every or at least a large portion of the workers at Berkshire were ready to throw down, and they had been planning on this. They
Cool.
figured that this was going to happen. Um, So on the 27th of September, the International responded with a letter of support, and a strike date was set for Thursday, October 1st at 6 a.m.
Cool.
The union was specifically demanding an end to Saturday work and a reinstatement of the agreed upon wages set by the post National Recovery Act voluntary code. They also were encouraging management from unionized plants and everyone in the industry to support their strike at Berkshire.
Hmm.
Henry Boyer, who was the secretary of the Reading branch, said that chiseling on wages, hours, and working conditions has been going on quietly but consistently at the Berkshire since the NRA was declared unconstitutional until today, the industry, not merely in Berks County, but throughout the country, is faced with a critical situation. Wages paid to the legging knitters, it has come
Mhm.
to light, only with the last few weeks are from 20 to 50% below the rates prevailing in the vast majority of mills in the industry, and are even further below the rates paid in the so-called closed shop union mills.
Okay.
So basically, Berkshire had been like slowly reducing
Yeah.
wages since the NRA was
Yeah.
declared unconstitutional.
And this
And
was the top tier hosiery mill in the
yes,
planet. The
yep,
fucking planet.
yeah, and they
Pay your
figured like
people.
we can cut their wages a little bit. It's fine.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that's awesome. Great. All
Um, so the AFHW actually then went to the National Association of Hosiery Manufacturers,
right.
which is the bosses organization,
All right.
and asked them to officially endorse reestablishing the codes.
Mhm.
Uh, but they responded saying that they weren't going to take a position on this.
All right.
Yeah, I mean they tried. Um, and then finally, as everyone was preparing for the strike, they called out for support from unions at other mills, and they wanted a massive picket line out front of Berkshire on the 1st of October. October 1st, 1936, uh, basically all hell breaks loose out front of the Berkshire Knitting Mills.
Love it.
By 5:30 a.m., so half an hour before the strike officially started, uh, pickets and police were already clashing out front of the mill.
They're
Uh,
pre-gaming, Gabe. They're
yeah,
pre-gaming.
yes. I mean,
Pre-striking.
honestly, looking at these pictures, it looks like a normal Eagles tailgate. So,
I know, right?
so it's an estimated between 2 and 4,000 pickets, with about
Damn.
yeah, uh, with about 4,000 other supporters and onlookers just kind of
Damn.
present.
That's a lot of bodies.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Um,
fair amount of bodies, Gabe.
so these were spread out between the three main entrances to Berkshire Mills, most of them concentrated at 8th and Reading
Okay.
Avenue.
Okay.
Pickets were doing everything in their power to prevent scab workers from getting into work. They were physically blocking cars from getting through the gates. They were throwing bricks at cars, uh, physically blocking people from walking in. Um,
So an Eagles tailgate, Gabe.
yeah,
You were right.
effectively.
You were
Yeah.
correct.
Southeastern Pennsylvania has basically just one mode, and it's throw bricks at passing cars. So uh,
And overturning police horses.
we punch police cars and overturn police horses.
We're so predictable, Gabe. We're so predictable.
uh, while all of this is going on, Hugo Hemmerich,
Okay.
and I
Oh
have to say his
God.
full name every time because it's a great
Please.
name.
Thank you.
Uh, so he apparently would drive in and out of the plant multiple
Oh,
times just
really?
to prove that it was safe. So then he
What?
could tell everyone, like, no, you can drive in, it's fine. But everyone in the crowd recognized him. So every time he did this, they just got more and more pissed off about it.
Is that fucking Hugo again? God damn it, that motherfucker. This is the fifth time today.
So as the morning wore on, everyone got more and more agitated. Tensions were really, really high.
Yeah.
Then one guy by the name of Martin Earl Schlegel, who was a young
Oh.
worker at Berkshire, he was driving an old sedan with two women as passengers.
Mm.
He was struck in the head by a brick,
Oh.
which was thrown by a striker, severely wounding him and knocking him unconscious. The women managed to stop the vehicle before it crashed, uh, and basically everything froze for a second as people rushed in to pull him from the car and brought him to the Berkshire Infirmary. So that was like mid morning on the first day
Shit.
of this strike, Schlegel got rushed out.
Okay.
Uh, but the day was not over.
Oh
So
no.
by 7 a.m., the governor had dispatched 26 state troopers to the mill.
Oh
They
great.
were supposedly, or they were there to support the small number of local cops and security guards that had already been completely overwhelmed by the pickets. Um, State troopers joined in fighting with the pickets throughout the day. Skirmishes were basically start and stop. Uh, Usually around shift changes was where you would see the biggest fights, because that's
Yeah.
when you had people coming and going. Whenever crowds became too much to handle, cops would shoot tear gas canisters into them. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, basically, filling the entire
That'll,
area,
yeah.
including people's homes, with thick tear gas and smoke and chemicals.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll
Uh,
calm them down.
mhm. And it's a good thing that we've stopped doing that today, and
Yeah,
that
we're good. Good now.
yep, doesn't
We don't
happen
think that.
anymore.
Nope, we're good, Gabe. No more war crimes.
As they kept saying in 2020, it's not a war crime when you do it against your own populace. It's great.
Hey, there you go. Moving
So
on.
yeah, by nightfall things got worse. 50 police had gathered and tried to make a final push to clear out the pickets. The police claimed their charge with nightsticks was a response to a barrage of stones. The
Sure.
pickets claim that it was completely unprovoked. Uh, but the one thing that the pickets had done at this point was knock out every street lamp in front of the mill except for one. So witnesses weren't able to see anything. As the cops charged, they fired tear gas into the crowd and basically just ran in swinging their clubs. They were ordering everyone out of the street and off of the porches. Because again, this is
What?
happening like their
Yeah, it's just
people's houses are right next to
neighborhood.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a factory and then a community right next to it. So they were ordering basically everyone to just get out of the area. Um,
Leave your homes.
yeah. So the cops rushed in, um, basically clubbing and punching anyone that they found.
Cool. Cool.
They pushed the pickets back down Reading Avenue, effectively emptying like 3 whole city blocks.
Damn.
Um, by the end of this, there was only one picket left, and he was a wounded man laying bloody on a
He
porch.
one fucking guy?
Yeah, that was the only person like left out in this 3 block area after the cops rushed through it.
One guy.
Yeah, so he was wounded, laying bloody on a porch.
Oh, great.
As the police reformed their lines in front of the
Jesus.
remaining pickets 3 blocks away, one striker dashed out into the open and threw a rock at the one remaining street lamp on the block, uh, which is just like things that I would have loved to have seen. It's just that moment right there. Uh, so once that light was out, the police charged again, pushing the strikers even further back to Penn Street, um,
Okay.
and again, basically just like literally swinging blindly at the crowd because they can't see anything at this point.
As they do.
Yeah.
I mean, they would
Um,
do it with the fucking lights on. So, I mean, what's the
yeah.
difference?
So it even got to the point that because they had pushed pretty far away from the mill, there were just like
Yeah.
people on their
Yeah.
porches at this
Yeah.
point.
You're
So
just beating the populace right now, guys.
yeah. So one of the groups of people they attacked on literally their front porch uh, was a gentleman by the name of Dr. Bagenstone.
I didn't know the police pushed them so far back that they got to Hobbiton, Gabe.
Yes. Uh, it was a very effective police line. They went uh, straight across the sea from the Grey Havens. Um, so so they went up onto Dr. Bagenstone's porch, and uh, he he had been hosting a number of people, just like at a, not necessarily a house party, but like they were just having a nice evening on his front porch. Uh,
Sure.
the people there included one man with a peg leg,
Oh
a
no.
woman who was suffering from, and a woman who was suffering from appendicitis.
No.
And both of these were his patients,
Oh God.
whom he just had over for the evening. State troopers
Oh
that he called, so Dr. Bagenstone called them mob crazy,
yeah.
uh, stormed onto the porch swinging their clubs.
Jesus
Uh,
fucking Christ.
yep. They struck the woman with appendicitis in her stomach.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, like, one of the worst things you can do to someone with appendicitis. Oh, and so they struck the woman with appendicitis in her stomach,
Great.
also swung a club so hard that it broke when it hit the guy's peg leg.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool,
great.
Gabe. No, Gabe. We back to blue in this podcast.
As always, postal workers are the bedrock of modern society.
Yes, thank you.
So by the end of the first day, you had Martin Earl Schlegel hit in the head with a brick.
Nice.
40 people were hospitalized
Cool.
or being treated by a private physician. Um, 17 had been arrested. 22 state troopers were still on scene. 17 more were on their way. 22 deputy sheriffs were on duty. 15 local borough patrolmen were on duty. And between 2 and 4,000 workers were on strike.
Okay.
Uh, this was right now, strike efficiency is about 75%. Uh, the union immediately released a statement blaming Hemmerich, who for all of the fighting. Hemmerich had previously made statements about how the police would treat strikers at Berkshire, and decrying the blatant brutality of the cops and state troopers. The
Mm,
union was decrying the
okay.
brutality.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh,
Interesting.
they noted that there had been strike breaking agents from the private detective agencies that they knew Berkshire had hired, and that they had
Yeah.
been spotted at the picket lines,
Yeah.
and as well as masquerading as guards. Yeah.
yeah.
So Hemmerich, on the other hand, blamed William C. Bitten, who was owner of the Rosedale Knitting Mill, who had shut his mill down for the day, which allowed all of his workers to go attend the protest at Berkshire. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, because so
Interesting.
all of the conversations that AFHW had been having with all of the other mills were actually paying off, and some of these smaller mills recognized, like, hey, if I just give my workers the day off, then maybe Berkshire will unionize, and I don't need to worry about competition with them.
Oh,
Hmm.
interesting.
So like that,
Damn.
they managed to get some collaboration from smaller mill owners, which is kind of
That is
cool.
freaking interesting.
Yeah.
Playing the game. I like that.
Hmm.
Gotta play the business game sometimes with the businessman, you know?
Yes. Uh, yeah. So then AFHW then made an appeal to Pennsylvania Governor Earl to have Samuel W. Gearhart, who is the captain of the local state trooper company, removed from command, because they fairly accurately explained that the men under his command acted completely unacceptably, and like punched
Just
a woman with appendicitis and attacked a dude with a peg leg. So maybe they need some new
yeah.
leadership.
Yeah. Sure.
So now we should talk about, or this is the next day, October 2nd. A smaller picket line of only around 1,000 people assembled out front of the plant. State troopers and local police were still patrolling in the area, and there was an kind of an uneasy peace because last night was very violent, uh,
Yeah.
and no one was entirely sure what was going to happen. So the picket line was mostly just hissing and booing at people as they went into the plant.
I like it.
Uh, and AFHW claimed that only 15% of the total workers were reporting to work that day. So that would mean an 85% strike effectiveness.
Cool.
So it actually gone up 10%. Uh,
Sure. That's not bad.
the but most importantly, the short third shift that would usually work overnight on Friday wasn't there
Mm.
on Friday night, October 2nd. And that meant that on Saturday, October 3rd, this plant sat idle. So they
Oh,
effectively shut down Saturday work.
cool.
Yeah. So both sides were regrouping over the weekend, getting ready for the coming week. But in at least like a minor success for the union, they did get uh, Governor George Howard Earl III uh, to remove Captain Samuel W. Gearhart from the command of Troop C, that was the
Nice.
troop in Reading, and they replaced him with a fellow by the name of M. Wilhelm.
Oh,
Lots of ominous German names.
I don't mean to say anything, but
Yeah.
goddamn.
Yeah. In addition to that, a delegation from the union actually got to meet with the governor, um,
Cool.
and they got permission from him that they could peacefully picket, which
All right.
included uh, that they could yell insults, they could boo, and they could sing on the picket line, but
Hey,
they
there we
could
go.
not physically prevent workers from entering the plant.
All right. You
So,
still got your songs though.
yeah, I mean, considering that there have been strikes in Philly where people got arrested for calling people scabs, like
Yeah,
having the governor say that you're allowed to do that, fine, I'll take it.
we'll take it.
And it also didn't prevent mass picketing. So you could
Okay.
still have like
Cool.
4,000 people there.
Yeah.
They just had to let someone walk through, or they had to allow someone to walk through that like throng, whether or
Yeah.
not, yeah, but that's still, I wouldn't want to do that. And then finally, a state labor mediator was dispatched and actually requested assistance from Francis Perkins, who was the Secretary of Labor. They wanted to bring in a federal mediator as well. Now, I do need to circle back to Martin Earl Schlegel, uh, who was
All
struck in
right.
the head uh, on the morning of October 1st.
Yeah.
He eventually succumbed to his wounds
Oh
while in
man.
hospital on October 3rd.
Okay.
Um, the Honestly, the worst part of the story is that I believe his mother and his stepdad were both unionized workers at another hosiery mill. Um, and both of them were telling him, like, don't go into work today.
Yeah.
Your mill is on strike.
Yeah.
Do not cross that picket line. Uh, and he didn't listen to them. Um,
Damn, man.
and
That's a shame.
yeah. And he was also just a young kid who probably
Yeah.
needed the money.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a
it's,
shame. That's a
yeah.
shame.
But now that we've gotten very depressed, we will move
There's some
on to the next week.
comical cartoons.
Yeah. Uh, so the funeral
Yeah.
of Martin Earl Schlegel,
Yeah.
the was actually attended by both strikers and the plant's owner and management.
Really?
Both sides basically agreed, like, this was a tragedy. We're
Fuck,
going to
man.
show up and
Nice.
honor this man,
Nice.
and we will have a temporary moment of peace.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice, man. That's kind of nice.
And
Yeah, man. A
then,
person died. You know,
yeah.
it's like we gotta come together and be like, hey, man, what the fuck are we doing?
Meanwhile, police were questioning strikers throughout the week, investigating his murder, trying to figure out who threw the stone.
Yeah.
Um, but aside from the funeral, picketing continued. Um,
Okay.
on Monday the 5th, there were about 6,000 pickets out front of the mill, with
Damn.
now 125 police
Oh.
uh,
Well.
patrolling because they brought in more state troopers and also police from neighboring townships. So the pickets were very well behaved, followed the governor's orders,
Doesn't
uh,
matter.
yelling and booing at scabs, but not physically interfering with them.
Yeah.
And at this point, the union issued their formal grievances and demands against Berkshire to the governor. This is what they were telling the governor was the problem, and that it was now the state labor mediator's job to negotiate a solution. Um, so their grievances were non-payment of minimum wage in the boarding department, which is, if I understand stocking production correctly, this is after the stocking is made, it gets slipped onto basically a wooden form uh,
Hmm.
that is the shape of a
A
foot
foot.
and calf. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then gets like stretched and steamed on that. Uh,
Sure.
and that's the final shaping. Um, so they wanted their grievances were non-payment of minimum wage in that department, the implementation of a double machine system with only one helper, which means
Okay.
every worker was responsible for managing two separate knitting machines. And then they would have one helper behind them, or one helper like running spools for them,
Yeah.
uh, which both meant that you had to oversee a huge amount of equipment just
Sure.
spinning incredibly quickly constantly. Uh, and then you also had your helper who was usually younger, like running back and forth constantly trying to keep all of these machines fed with silk thread. Then they also wanted the elimination of an 11% differential extra on double shift footer and topper operations as provided in the hosiery code.
All right, Gabe. Now in English.
From what I can tell, so footer and topper operations, a footer is someone who attaches the foot of uh, the stocking, which was that was one of the big inventions that Berkshire made. Uh,
Ooh.
was knitting the foot and the top of the stocking totally separate. So, from my understanding, footer and topper operations is when those two are combined. That's about all I got. I'm not sure what the
I
11%
love it.
differential
That's all
extra
we need.
on
That's all
double
we need,
shift.
buddy.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Basically, it's another wage complaint that they want a I think they wanted a standardized wage system
Okay.
rather than one built around like double shift for one specific uh trait or one specific job in
Yeah.
this one specific situation.
Okay.
Then finally, they wanted an end to Saturday work.
There we
Um,
go.
yeah. Um, so they also pointed out and started publicly talking about how a worker at Berkshire can expect a flat rate of $21.50 for 40 dozen pairs, which is as opposed to $34.20 at other plants. So this is a $12 difference in wages for
Hmm.
single machine operators, and presumably it was even worse for two machine operators.
Wow.
Uh, to fix these grievances, they had the following demands.
Yeah.
Company would comply with a 40-hour, 5-day work week per industry code, go back to a single machine system, you establish uniform piecework rates across uh, and follow the prevailing ones um, in the Reading area, then okay, I was wrong about the differential extra to double shift footers and toppers. They
Okay.
wanted to bring back an 11% differential extra to double
All
shift
right.
footers and toppers. So
All
if you
right.
were working the footer and topper machine on a double shift, you should get paid 11% more. I think. No goddamn
Cool.
clue.
They
Uh,
wanted better working conditions, Gabe, and
yeah,
wages.
basically. Wages, hours, conditions.
Wages, hour
Uh,
conditions. They could always summed up to that.
yeah. Then they wanted to eliminate the third shift.
Yeah.
Um, and finally, they wanted to provide equal pay for equal work without sex discrimination,
Hey.
which is
Okay.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
Um, so those were
Nice.
the demands.
Yeah. Those were
Berkshire
the
responded.
demands.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did they respond,
Berkshire.
Gabe?
So they responded by saying that they wouldn't respond to the union, but would give the governor an
What?
answer out of
What?
respect for him. Yeah.
What the fuck?
So they told the governor that they were obeying the wage agreement. Basically, they were saying that the Saturday work was voluntary and that workers happened to just choose to work 6-day weeks out of their own free will.
What?
Yeah.
All right.
They claimed they didn't discriminate wages based on sex. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Questionable. Um, they they also claimed they practiced collective bargaining with representatives of its employees.
Okay.
Uh, Basically, they were saying that because the Berkshire Employees Association exists,
Yeah.
uh, that was what they regarded as the union, except for the fact that the plant manager was the head of the Berkshire Employees Association.
Cool.
So, yeah, not great there. Obviously, this was a bit of an impasse, and neither side
Yeah.
was willing to back down. So the strike dragged out through the rest of 1936,
Damn.
basically with a constant picket line, even into the winter months. They did a lie down picket on December
Whoa.
1st.
Whoa.
So basically, they went in and lied down in front of the mill. Then on December 15th, state troopers returned to Berkshire Mills as violence started to pick up again on the picket line. There were like occasional clashes throughout this whole time. Um, the strike dragged on into 1937 with
Damn.
more clashes between pickets and police. And by the end of February 37, the union decided to escalate, and a call went out for a general strike starting in March. So by March 1st, 2,500 hosiery workers joined the Berkshire strike, either sitting down in their own mills or joining the Berkshire picket line.
Mm.
March 2nd saw 2,200 more workers from 4 more mills join that strike. So effectively, AFHW was starting a hosiery general strike
Noise.
in order to get Berkshire to succumb. Because their goal was to get the the mill owners that they were striking to talk to their either talk directly to Berkshire and put pressure on them, or to talk to the local government and have the local government put pressure on Berkshire.
Yeah.
Municipal leaders started asking the state for help in keeping the peace. Federal mediators came back in to mediate the dispute, but to no avail. By March 4th, 17 out of the county's 20 hosiery mills were idled by strikes.
Jesus.
So that means that in addition to the like probably 3 or 4,000 that were still on strike at Berkshire, there were 5,300 men and women at totally unrelated mills that had joined the strike.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Solidarity.
And this also, like, hosiery was one of the key industries in Reading, or in Berks County at this point, and effectively AFHW had just shut down the whole
Damn.
industry. Uh, so everyone was starting to get really nervous about this. And finally, on April 16th, 1937, after
Jesus
6.5
Christ.
months of picketing,
Jesus Christ.
the union declared an end to the general hosiery strike.
Really?
15 of the 20 hosiery mills in Berks County agreed to the wage demands, because as part of all of this, the union realized, like, if we're going to go on strike at these mills, we need to make sure that those workers are also getting something. So they
Yeah.
laid out a new wage table, and set that as their demand for everyone. Unfortunately, Berkshire Mills was not one of the mills that agreed to those demands. But yeah, uh, but more importantly, that
Yeah.
the strike at Berkshire became a pressure point that helped the union to secure wages across the entire sector, which they
Fair.
then used to leverage against Berkshire, because they were still getting paid less than everyone else, who is now getting paid even more. And they also showed, like, the for the first time, AFHW, if it wanted to,
Yeah.
could shut down
We
one
could
of the
shut
most
the shit
profitable.
down.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
don't fuck with us. This also caused, in November of 1937, the National Labor Relations Board commenced hearings for an unfair labor practices ruling against Berkshire
Oh.
Knitting Mills,
Oh.
uh, which was over their use of a company union to suppress genuine union development among their workers.
Interesting.
Um, so this ended up being, like, one of the first times that company unions got addressed as an unfair practice.
Yeah.
Uh, that case, obviously being a court case, dragged on forever. Uh,
It's still going on.
yeah, it went up into district courts, dragged into the 40s. But if, from my understanding of it, the final ruling was in favor of the union, that the
Okay.
company union was an unfair practice.
Yeah.
Uh, so at Berks, slightly mixed results, but
Took a while, but yeah.
yeah. But in terms of, like, winning, using that struggle as a leverage point for the industry as a whole, they did a very good job.
Yeah.
Also, we got some really great political cartoons out of it. I'd also like to give a shout out to Alexa Freeman of Burke's Nostalgia, uh, who she did a lot of the background research for this in 3 separate blog posts, I believe, about the strike. And I also want to give a shout out to the Reading Eagle, I believe is the name of the newspaper, or the Reading Times. It's right in front of you, Gabe. In the 1930s, it did just the absolute most useful thing I have ever seen the newspaper do for researchers, which is January 1st of every year, they print a 2-page spread of every major headline from the previous year
Damn, that's cool.
with the date, which made it so goddamn
That is
easy to
that is
find
so
information
cool.
about the strike.
That is cool. I like that.
Yeah, it was also just kind of a cool idea. Just,
Yeah,
like,
that is a nice idea.
you could have, it's kind of like when people get, like, the headlines for their birthday or something.
Yeah.
Uh, but being able to see the entire birth year, or the entire year spread out, was really
Yeah.
cool.
That's
Um,
nice.
but yeah, that was the 1936 Berkshire Knitting Mill strike.